Hello, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here. And Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. So, as you can see from the bags under my eyes, I had a good time last night, but not too good of a time to make it to the cinema today. It was like 50-50 yesterday. But you don't want to hear about my night out. You want to hear about the film. So, Mission Impossible, you pretty much know what you're going to get. And it didn't disappoint, I have to say. Is it too long? For me, a little bit. That's probably my biggest complaint. Around the 2-hour mark, I was getting a little bit shifty in my seat. But as I've said on this channel before, I am not good with long films. I tend not to go to the cinema to see them. I'm much more at home and I can pause it and get up and do stuff and, whatever. But that does not mean I did actually really enjoy the film. And to be fair, around the sort of, say, 2-hour mark, I was getting a little bit twitchy. But the last sort of 20 minutes of this film was amazing. So let's go back to the start before I talk about the end. It's everything you want from a Mission Impossible film. Great cast as always. It does really well setting up the story. So spoiler, but I think most people know that the kind of antagonist in all of this or the premise is all around that there's an AI that's gone sentient and is, possibly trying to take over the world, and it's sneaking in and out of government systems, and just letting the governments know it can do it if it wants to. So this has basically created like a power struggle. So, human nature being human nature, rather than all the governments getting together to say, hey, let's work together to get this AI and shut it down. They're all out for themselves, and they're all like, whoever controls the AI will control the world, will have the ultimate power. And that's kind of the premise. So they talk about AI, and I think that's a lot of people have been saying that it's AI. But one of the things that I really picked up on that they were talking about a lot was to control the world. It's all about controlling the news, the messaging, like what is the truth. And there's quite a lot of leaning into we've been lied to, and you can't believe everything you're being told. And it's really easy to turn people against people if you've got control, the power of the messaging, the message. So, I think there's, again, like sort of Tom Cruise sort of making a bit of a, dig at Hollywood about, messaging, just trying to control the narrative and who's wrong. But really these days, and as a comment about, World War III isn't going to be missiles and such. It's going to be who controls the power of the word and the data, and control of fuels and water and all those kind of things. So there's a very, even though I heard everybody sort of saying, oh, it's about the AI, and they've not really lent that much into the AI, which I agree. I mean, maybe that will come out in part 2 more, but the way they kept talking about lies and you can't believe anything you hear, and it's all about who controls the narrative. I thought that was a really interesting piece that came up throughout the film. For me, it's just like obviously something Tom Cruise is trying to say without saying it. So like I say, it's not a political film at all, but just sort of saying, don't believe everything you hear or read, or don't trust it just because it's coming from our government or from a reputable source. So quite interesting, that one. So obviously Ethan gets drawn into this there's this key that we see right at the start, and we know that this key has something to do with the AI, or you can access the AI computer through this. Obviously there's a handful of people in the world that know what this key can do, But Ethan is sent his, if you choose to accept this mission, is to go get the key. He's not told what it's for or why it's important, but it just is like most missions, it's like need to know. So he sets out to get this key. This is kind of where Hayley Atwell comes in, who was great in this film. I really liked her. She had, I mean, obviously, I think everybody knows at the time her and Tom Cruise were dating. I don't think it was allegedly. I think everybody knew they were dating, and that chemistry really came across. I think they were a great double act. There was some great moments of levity in the chases and things like that. And again, you know, she wasn't, you know, she's this master thief, you know, pickpocket, able to make money that way, but she's no like master criminal or assassin or anything like that. So she's like well out of her depth. And there's a point where obviously the car chase that you've seen in the trailers happening in Rome, she's just like, right, that's it, I'm out, you drive. Because like she's just crashing the car, you know, like most of us would, you know, we're not taught to drive at high speeds. So it's like very realistic in that sense that she's just like, no, this is over to you, you do this. And yeah, so you know, she wasn't a Mary Sue is the point I'm trying to make. You know, she wasn't good at everything. She was scared. She was certainly flawed. At one point, she kind of leaves Ethan handcuffed to a steering wheel and legs it, and they've ended up on a train track, and yeah, he's about to get hit by the train, and she's not even cared. You know, she's just I'm out of here, you know, kind of thing. And she's very much out for herself for most of the film. You know, she's just got herself into this and she just wants out, and all she can think about is getting out, and she's not really thinking through her decisions particularly well. But yeah, so great to see, you know, a capable woman, but you know, using her feminine charms as well. I mean, Hayley Atwell, yeah, you know, most women were killed to look like her, but using her feminine charms, you know, they didn't shy away from that. You know, she was using men to get what she wanted. She wasn't walking around like a girl boss or, you know, a man in women's clothing, basically. She was, you know, sort of, I'd say she was believable as anybody is in a Mission Impossible film. So, but that was great. The other female actresses in it were also, I thought, really well done. All of them sort of had their own flaws. Pom, I can't remember her name, but the lady from Guardians of the Galaxy was great in this. She didn't have a lot of lines. She didn't really say a lot, but boy, did she play a psycho well. And she just looked like she was really enjoying what she was doing. And again, very believable. You know, she knew how to fight and sort of hold her own, but didn't stop her having the, you know, a few, you know, punches landed on her. And when a guy punches you, you're going down. So again, so from that point of view, all very believable. All the women, you know, get hurt, get beaten up, get flung around, but you know, hold their own where they need, where they can. But obviously, they are overpowered by men as well. So very, very believable. That is how you know, portray women. And 10 out of 10 to Tom Cruise, all the writers that actually didn't shy away from the women's femininity, didn't shy away from that women are flawed. I know, shocker, right? That we're not perfect creatures. Mind blown. Yeah, so it was great from that perspective. Obviously, you got the same sort of, you know, the dynamics from Simon Pegg and Vim in terms of the characters and obviously their relationship with Ethan. We learned a little bit more about Ethan before he joined the IMF. Yeah, Impossible Mission Force, IMF, yeah. And one of the sort of key antagonists in this, a guy called Gabriel, is from, say, Ethan's past and killed someone that was important to Ethan. And you see that very much in the opening moments of the film. And he's an annoying character. Oh my god, not the actor, or I don't mean it in like in a bad way, but I just can't stand, you know, the characters when they're just so bloomin' smug and they just seem to like get away with everything, and they're just like, oh, you just really want to see them get their comeuppance. So I can't wait for part 2 to see you know, how it's going to work out with Ethan and this guy Gabriel, how that's all going to conclude. I mean, everybody obviously has talked about the stunts in this film, and And like I say, you cannot beat the authenticity of real stunts actually being on location. You know, they're actually in Venice, they're in Rome, they're in Abu Dhabi, and it really, really shows. You know, it sucks you in. It just feels so much more believable, even though it's kind of not believable, because these things are just so fantastic. As I said in my video, I think on Sunday lunch today, the whole bit with the train. So the train piece is the last sort of 20 minutes of the film. And oh my God, I was on the edge of my seat. Even in cinema, I literally kind of shuffled. There's a few scenes and everybody in the audience was like, and like you can take a breath as this thing's playing out. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved the end of this film. Obviously, they got to go for it to make us want to go see part 2, but I think they've done an excellent job of wanting to go see part 2. There's a twist and turns through this. Somebody does die that you may or may not be expecting to happen. But yeah, it was just fun. It was just such good fun. There's some silly nonsense in there. You just got the right amount of humor, which you always get through like Simon Pegg's character, Benji. The whole setup to the stunt that we've all seen with Tom Cruise, you know, driving the motorcycle off the mountain and parachuting down. The whole build up to that is great. Just the relationship and the way he talks to Ethan was just very, very funny. Yeah, so overall, I really did enjoy it. I think I just say they probably could have taken about 20 minutes out of this film, I think. That's probably my only real criticism. But the film does go quickly. It doesn't drag. It's just I'm just not great. And I think they could have probably just cut it down slightly. But other than that, it does what it says on the tin. It's balls to the wall action. It's fun. It's entertaining. There's no preaching. There's no girl bosses strutting around and putting Ethan down. You know, they're all kind of plausible, believable characters within the universe of Mission Impossible. So I think great job. I'm so glad I went to go see it at the cinema. It's definitely one of those ones, you know, to really appreciate all the stunts. So I don't really want to say special effects because, you know, there's very little CGI. I mean, there's obviously some in there, but it doesn't take you out at all. And there's just so much actual real stunts happening. It's really negligible, you know, what the CGI is that you don't. I mean, I didn't even really notice it at all, to be honest, because you just know most of it is real. So yeah, it was great fun. It's great safety. So I would say at the first showing, it's about 11:30 in the morning on a Sunday. So to see the cinema half full, I thought that pretty decent. Probably as you'd expect, probably my age upwards. The younger kids are probably all still in bed and sleeping off their hangovers, quite rightly. Like they'd be like, why would I want to go to that showing when there's one at 7 o'clock in the evening? But yeah, the cinema itself was actually very busy, which is great to see. And also the trailers for the film, there was actually at least 3 or 4 original films. Most of them aren't really my cup of tea. And it was like Napoleon, the one, about the Scorsese film coming out. So not really my cup of tea. Dumb Money, that has Seth Rogen in it. So that's out already. Yeah. But it is good to see that there's some just, you know, original films coming out. As we know, there's not going to be any films coming out for a while after this year at this rate, with everybody being on strike. But as I was saying, hopefully we'll get some re-releases of some great stuff. I mean, God, if they re-released Dredd, that obviously didn't do very well at the cinema originally, that would be a great one to re-release. And hopefully it'd have a fantastic run and we could get a sequel. That would be amazing. Because I must admit, I never got to see it at the cinema. And it would be great to see the effects in that film. Go check out my review of Dredd on my channel. Hey, see what I did there? Anyway, I am still buzzing from seeing this film. I really enjoyed it. Did I love it? I'm not sure if I loved it, but I blooming enjoyed it. And would I watch it again? Yes, I would. And yeah, really looking forward to part 2. I'm assuming, hoping, obviously part 2 has all been filmed, so we will get that next year as planned. Who knows? But let's hope so. And I cannot wait to see how Dead Reckoning concludes. So thumbs up from Atomic Blonde. You know, if you've liked the previous Mission Impossible films, if you like, you know, your Jack Reacher, your Terminal List, your James Bond, this is going to be right up your street. So go do it. That's all I can say. Go do it. Enjoy it. 2 hours 40, but it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, well done, Tom Cruise, as always. Probably saving the cinema again and the blockbuster. Have a great weekend, and I'll be back soon. Take care. Bye-bye.